Okay, so this evening we are taking a look. Let me just check the volume levels before we get going. We are taking a look at the Black Square Bonanza in Flight Simulator 2024. It was released today. It's available from Just Flight. You can buy it in a package with the Bonanza and the Baron together for about £44. So I'm not sure what that translates to at current exchange rates. So I'll try not to say one way or the other because I'll get it wrong. So let's go and have a little look around the aeroplane first in the simulator. So we're sat on the ground at Manhattan Airport, just west of Kansas City, and we're going to fly in towards Kansas City in the aeroplane with the VFR flight plan in Say Intentions. So it's going to have a close look around the aeroplane to see how it's been modelled. It looks pretty cool. So I'm just looking really closely at the tyres to see if there's any bulging in the tyres, because I know 2024 does support that. So obviously you can see it's got the new dirt modelling on it, so it's not clean at the moment. We'll go and have a look at that in the tablet to see if we can clean it. And I guess it's only appropriate that I say it's good to be back, because I've been away for a few days. So yeah, this is my first flight, or first look in the simulator in probably a week. So yeah, it's been really strange being away. And now I'm going to be very, very rusty coming back probably. So you can see moving around the aeroplane, it's really nicely put together. And if we go and fly over the top of the aeroplane and back down into the cabin, we can have a look inside. So I've switched on the fully analogue set of instruments here with the old radio stack. So this is partly on purpose because the Black Square aircraft have this wonderful piece of kit called a KNS-81 RNAV, and it's fantastic. It allows you to create kind of pseudo VOR stations where they don't exist. It's like a computer basically. I'll show you it when we get up in the air. So we'll be able to essentially create our own localizers for runways that don't have them, as long as there's a VOR nearby. Okay, so coming back down through the back of the aeroplane, you can see it's lovely modelling all the way through. So you've got the chocks tucked down the back of the seats there. There's various interactive elements, which I'm not going to get too deeply into because I'm sure people just want to see the aeroplane work, to be honest. So we've had a quick look around with the drone camera. Let's go and press Shift and X, which just give us the normal view out of the cockpit. And I'm not going to turn head tracking on just yet, so we're going to use normal keys to look around in the cockpit. So first things first, I am going to follow a written procedure. So I'm just going to pop open a browser here to show you it. If I go to my blog at johnbeckett.substack.com, you will see the most recent post is the written procedures for the Bonanza and the Baron. So I've gone and written them up already. I've converted them and appended quite heavily to them and corrected them here and there from the old versions for 2020. So they're much more refined checklists than they were. So I'm going to be working through that. So if you bear with me for a moment, I'm just going to go into a screen alongside where we're looking here. And I'm going to go back to drive.google, where the original is. And I'm going to look for the Bonanza. Okay, so we're going to work through the checklist together, and I'll explain what I'm doing along the way. So first things first, we're going to press Shift and 8, which brings us down to the fuel selector. So the checklist basically tells you what keyboard keys to press to look around the cockpit quickly. Actually, before we do that, let's go and open the tablet here. And we're going to have a quick look on the tablet at what you can do. So you can choose the avionics. within the aircraft, which is going to massively impact what you see on the instrument panel. So if you've never seen the black square Bonanza before, it's fantastic. You get to choose, if you've got one of the glass cockpit systems, whether you have the PMS or the TDS version. That all works really nicely. You get some options around rendering of the aircraft, so cloud strobe effects. You can have, whether the covers and chocks are on. You can put this in different positions around the aircraft, which is quite nice. Let's go and have a look around. Just scroll down a bit further. So yeah, there is an update waiting for Sim Update 4, which will allow the dynamic registrations to work. That's not implemented just yet. If you go and look in payload, you get to set out obviously how much fuel you've got and what passengers you've got, so on and so forth. You can obviously go and switch on and off various elements around the aircraft as well. You get a live visualization of what's going on inside the engine while it's running. We'll see that happening a bit later on. You also get the same for the electrical buses. You get the same for the cabin control system, environmental control system I should say, and then you can obviously control failures throughout the aeroplane to quite some depth if you go look down. So this is where Black Square have really made their name, and it's a fantastic piece of work. So to get rid of the tablet, I'm just going to go and pop it back down there. So you will notice that all of the breakers work, for example. So you can simulate pulling breakers to do things. So let's go and close the door. Everything has sounds, everything has animations. So as we said, Shift and 8, we're going to go and make sure we're using the left tank to begin with. We're only flying 100 miles today, so we don't need much fuel. We've got 50% in both tanks, which is fine. So we can rotate this with the mouse, so you'll notice you can't rotate that past left to off unless that button's down. So we can go the other way, for example, it will ratchet down automatically. So it's a safeguard, so in the real thing you can't turn the fuel off by accident. Okay, Shift and 3 brings us further up, and you can see actually if you press Shift and space, you can see there is, I'm going to turn head tracking on here for a moment. If we look the other side, there is a control lock. So we're going to go remove the control lock just by clicking on it. And when you click on it, it actually puts it on the floor on the opposite side of the aeroplane, which is quite nice. Okay, so I'm going to turn head tracking off. So let's go press that again. Shift and 3 will bring you down. Notice there's a nicety there that when we press the keyboard shortcut, it gets the yoke out of our way automatically. That's quite nice. So battery goes to on. And you'll hear things in the background happening. Alternator goes to on. Standby alternator goes to on. Then Shift and 5 brings us over towards the pedestal. We're going to put the propeller to... Now, I've not configured it yet. Let's go and have a look. Controls and throttle quadrant. Now, I have got a airplane control here. So let's go and see what we've got. Basic throttle and propeller control. Because I've got two levers. And let's see how that works. So that gives me power and propeller. So propeller all the way forwards. Mixture all the way forwards to rich, and then Shift and 6 brings us further down, and we can go and open the cowl flaps. So you should see that underneath. There we go. So that's come down. Then Shift and 3 will bring us back over to the panel. We're going to go and put the beacon light on because we're going to be starting the engine in a moment. And then just before we do that, we're going to go and put the throttle to rich, put the fuel pump to high for a few seconds, and then back to off. And then we are going to go for mags, but we're using the same intentions, remember, so we're going to do this properly. We need to go and get the radios on. So let's go and put the master avionics on. Actually, I'm going to do this kind of slightly out of sequence, because normally you could go and put the avionics on and then turn them back off again, so you don't get a surge that takes out the radios as you kick the engine over. Notice, yeah, I'm going to do this slightly out of sequence. It shouldn't hurt it. It'll be interesting to see if it does, because this is an accurately modelled aeroplane, so you could cause it to damage itself. I'm not sure how often it would simulate a surge on engine start, but we'll see what happens. So we've got the radios up and running, which means we can talk to air traffic control now. So we're going to go and set this to ground. And we've got the code in front of us. We are November 6 Tango Quebec. So in the US, you would just say we are Beechcraft, or Bonanza in this case, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec. So let's go and try out say intentions and see if it's responding. So we've set the ground frequency to 12185. Is that working? 12185 is highlighted.
Centurion 9021 ready to taxi.
And we can hear ground.
Centurion 9021, runway 31, taxi via Echo.
Ground, Beechcraft 6 Tango Quebec, requesting engine start.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, engine start approved.
Okay, so we should be able to just turn this over. He says famous last words.
Ground, hello, citation November 825.
I'd forgotten the throttle was all the way forward, so I should have pulled it back. So almost flooded it.
Boston, Logan, please.
So we're looking for 1,000
Clearance on
RPM,
request, stand by.
just to warm the engine up.
Clearance to Boston, radar directives, Kansas City, Venice File, Clementing 5000, spec file 39010.
So while we're doing this, I'm just going to put this on the radio check channel so we don't have to listen to any ATC goings on. We shouldn't have now. This has got memory on the switches where I was playing with this, checking my procedures out. This should be on standby for the moment. Otherwise we irradiate everybody around the airplane. This is a weather radar, by the way. We're going to make sure that the transponder's on standby as well. So you do need to, if you go and look, I'm not sure if it's got it as an option for it to save state. That's an interesting one, actually. Yeah, I think it just does it. So you do need to be careful when you shut the airplane down to set it back, you know, to as you would wish to find it. Okay. So we've got the engine up and running. We've set it for 1,000 RPM, so it's busy warming up as we speak. So let's go down to shift and 3. We're going to go and put the nav lights on. And we can set any internal lights that we want. It's a nice sunny day, so I doubt we're going to need them. If we just switch them on, you can see the backlighting. It all works really lovely. So you can do floodlighting as well. Obviously that's not going to show. We'll put the panel lights on because it does make a difference. Makes it that little bit more clear for us. Master avionics, we've already got them on obviously because we've got the radio on. Okay, so air conditioning, or yeah, so you can obviously play around with the air conditioning. We can switch it on. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference on a day like today. So then we can press shift and 1 to come up to the instrument panel. You've got the normal 6-pack of instruments. So you've got indicated airspeed in knots, you've got an altitude indicator, altimeter, vertical speed, an HSI, it's a really nice one. You've got a turn coordinator, radar altitude, which is nice to have, and ADF meter there. Nav 2 is at the bottom right, and then obviously the engine gauge is down the middle. And everything's heading into the greens, which is fantastic. Okay, so we're going to press comma to calibrate the altimeter. And then go over to the radio stack and have a look at it. So we got COM1, NAV1, COM2, NAV2. Then you've got the KNS81, which we'll get to later. So this is a really, really interesting bit of kit. So you can change the mode here. So that makes it into a normal VOR radio, which is independent of these two. But the real trick it's got up its sleeve is it can work in RNAV mode. And yeah, I'll explain this when we're in the air, because we'll go flying around and I'll explain it when we get in the air. Okay, so down here we've got the autopilot. So it's got altitude, heading mode, nav mode, approach mode, back course mode, and an engage button on the far right over there. It's got an up-down pitch control as well, and an ADF down the bottom there. Over on the right, you've got the transponder and the weather radar that we already talked about earlier. You've got the temperature gauge over there, cabin temperature. Just having a quick look around, there's obviously the fuel tanks on each wing. You've got an oxygen system, so if you go up above 10,000 feet, I think it's for more than half an hour, you're encouraged to go switch the oxygen on, and it will pressurize, I guess, the cabin. Okay, oh, you've got the outside air temperature out there as well, which is good. So we're busy ticking over. Let's go and... oh, we've got an altitude pre-selector up here as well, by the way. So say we know we're at 1,000 feet. So say we're going to fly along at, say, 3,000 feet today. We'll set that, which will put us 2,000 feet above the immediate ground, and it looks as flat as a pancake out there, so I imagine that's going to be good. Okay, so we're going to go back on the radio in a moment and request taxi. Before we do that, we should have some switches down here for a taxi light. So we'll have a look at that. If we go and look outside, you can see there's the taxi light shining away. It does look good, doesn't it? And they haven't tried to animate the spinner, which looks fantastic because of it. Okay, shift and space brings us back up. Let's put the yoke back on for the moment and bring up say intentions. Put us back onto ground, and we're going to request taxi. Now if we go and have a close look at the airfield we're taking off from, so this is Manhattan Regional, like as I said, about 100 miles west of Kansas City. So wind is coming from the north 14 knots, and we are down here, so we're going to ask for taxi to runway 03, which will at least mean we're somewhat into the wind. So, tuning ground, 121850. And what was the name of the airport again? Let's get it right. Manhattan Regional. So it's Manhattan Ground. Manhattan Ground, Beechcraft Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, requesting taxi to runway 03.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, runway 3, taxi via Alpha Echo.
Taxi via Alpha Echo to runway 03, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec. So if we have a look on the map there, we're just going to turn left and go down. Is Echo, if we zoom in a bit further on LittleNavMap, is it going to be nice to us and show us? No, it isn't. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, we'll just turn left. Okay, parking brake off. Head tracking on. I'm amazed there's not more traffic moving around. Maybe it's because it's such a grey day, there's not many people up flying around. But we're going to be up in it soon. We'll switch over to flight following with centre along the way, which will give us lots of radio chatter to listen to. It's interesting that's saying gear up. Does that not agree with the switch in the cockpit or something? Yeah, it didn't. I just cycled the switch. So that's Alpha. We'll echo...
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, contact tower on 118.55 so long.
We'll just...
Ground SkyWest.
Yeah, this is Alpha as well.
6288, request pushback as an engine start.
SkyWest 6288, pushback and engine start approved. Tail southwest.
Manhattan ground, citation 014 Alpha Delta.
So we're just waiting for a chance to talk to...
Picking up IFR clearance as filed. Destination is...
Come on.
India, X-ray Delta.
Ground, contacting tower 118.55. Beechcraft 6 Tango Quebec. So we go back over to tower. We can either click the frequency here, so I'll just show you that again. If you watch the frequency when we click on it, so it does it for us, or we can do it ourselves. So I need to remember this rather than keep looking. 6 Tango Quebec. So we're Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec. So let's go and key up tower and tell them where we are. Tower Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, holding short runway 03 for immediate departure.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, Manhattan Tower, runway 3, winds 340 at 7, gusting 17. Cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 3, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec. So I will answer the live stream questions in a moment. I'm just focusing on this until we get in the air. Okay, let's just line the plane up. Put the parking brake on for a moment. Let's go and pop
Skylane 3 Echo Bravo,
yoke
contact
off.
departure, safe travel.
The strobe's on, and we had the taxi light on already. So we're going to put the landing lights on, just getting used to where the switches are.
Skylane 3 Echo Bravo.
Slightly, how do you put this? Let's put the blower on as well. Slightly non-intuitive. So we won't put the weather radar on until we're climbing out. Put the transponder on.
Skylane 527, welcome to Manhattan, contact ground on 121.85.
The wind is trying to get underneath that left one.
121.85, Skylane 904527.
Gear up. The cowl flaps can be raised. So we just hold 30 degrees on the climb out. Weather radar can go on.
Cessna 7 Delta Lima ready to go straight out.
Pull the RPM back.
Cessna 7 Delta Lima winds 360 at 6, gusting
So
23,
we're up to
runway 31
2,000
cleared
feet
for
at the
takeoff.
moment, so it's 1,000 feet over the ground. Let's do a slow left turn. So we're VFR, remember. Continue climbing gently. Try to get to about 3,000 feet, hopefully. So doing about 110 knots, which is fine. Oh, it's moving around a little bit in the wind. So coming back round towards the reciprocal of the runway direction, which will be 210 degrees. And let's go and try the autopilot out then quickly. So we're coming up to 2,500 feet. I'm just trimming the elevators as well. So if we engage this, it will go to flight director, but the flight director has not really been told to do anything. So can we drag the heading bug? No, we can't. So we'll pull it around to 210 degrees. Whoops. Always fun to try and do when you've got head tracking on. and the click spots are quite small. Yeah, I'm going to turn head tracking off while we're doing this so it doesn't drive everybody around the twist. So there we go, 10 degrees. So then we can go heading mode. So we're flying back down towards this other airfield. Where are we actually heading towards? Or is it an airfield? What's this?
Cessna 7 Delta Lima, contact departure.
So coming up towards 3,000 feet as well.
Centurion 2 November Whiskey holding short of 3-1, ready to go.
This is saying alt, so it's going to capture the altitude and go to
Centurion 2 November Whiskey, wind 360 at 6, gusting 23, runway 31, cleared for takeoff.
It's winding out the vertical speed slowly, isn't it?
Cleared for takeoff, 3-1, Centurion 2 November Whiskey.
Let's just check the volume levels that you're hearing. Make
Skylane
sure.
527,
Yeah,
contact ground on
loud.
121.85.
Manhattan Tower, Skylane 94527 is down on 13, holding short on runway 21.
So yeah, it's winding out nicely. Look, coming
I'll
up to
grab that
3,000 feet.
clearance. Give me just a minute.
So what's the airfield we are passing? Oh, I've turned the airfields off, that's why. Numpty. So you can see we are flying, we're being pushed by the wind. Look, 30 knot crosswind. Look what it's doing to us. We were pointing the same direction as the runway. Look at that. Anyway, before we go too much further, I'm going to spin us around to face the other direction. So I'll turn us to 60 degrees. And I want to show you what this flight computer does. So, we have a VOR station here, right next to the airfield. And what if we wanted to come in on runway 31? But what if we wanted some guidance to help us do that? What we can do is draw a line from the VOR station using measure distance to the end of that runway. So 156 degrees,
November 29er uniform echo, holding short 31. Ready for departure.
0.4 nautical miles. So 156 and 0.4. So what we're going to do is, we've got this in RNAV mode, and the sun isn't helping us. Let's hope that shadow falls all the way across.
November 29er
There we
uniform
go.
echo,
Perfect.
wind 360 at 6, gusting 23, runway
So
31, cleared for takeoff.
11020.
Cleared for
So
takeoff.
while
31,
frequency
November 29er
is
uniform
set,
echo.
so you can press data, by the way, to move the
Centurion
highlight.
2 November Whiskey, contact
While
departure.
frequency is there, we want
Switching to
11020.
departure, Centurion 2 November Whiskey.
Since we're
RNAV.
flying near Fort Riley, let me tell you a bit about
Oh,
it.
it's this one, sorry.
Fort Riley was
110.
established way back in 1853
20.
and is named after Major General Bennett C. Riley. It's
Just
famous
make sure
for being
where
the
we
home
are,
of
that's
the
fine.
U.S. Army's 1st Infantry Division, also
So
known
we
as
want
the
to
Big
set,
Red One,
we want
which
to
sounds more
offset
like
the
a superhero
VOR
squad than a military
by
unit.
0.4
The
miles
fort
at
played a big role in
156
westward
degrees.
expansion and was a key training
So we
site
press
during
data,
both World Wars.
and we change this to
Aviation fans might
156 then.
appreciate that Fort Riley has its own airfield, Marshall Army Airfield, which has seen everything
156
from biplanes
degrees.
to
Press
helicopters
data,
and
and then we
helicopters.
set this to 0.4. So what this is now going to do, if we switch this to RNAV mode, which we should be able to do here, and we can switch this as well to RNAV somehow, and I can't remember how to do it. How do you set the mode for the nav radio? It's using nav at the moment. Is it
Skylane
also-
527, welcome to Manhattan.
There we go.
Contact ground on 121.85.
So then if we set this to 320 degrees,
527. Skylane 527, you're leaving my airspace.
yeah, it's just
Frequency
still showing
change
nav.
approved.
How do we...
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, you're leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved. So long.
Interesting. So that's nav and GPS.
Departure for November 29er uniform echo. Good day.
I'm going to have to try and remember how this works. Do we have to do anything more than that?
Beechcraft 8 uniform Charlie, winds 360 at 6, gusting 23, runway 31, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, 31, Beechcraft 8 uniform Charlie.
Okay, what we're going to do, I'm going to switch this, yeah, as someone else has said, we'll put radio check on for the moment. I'm trying to remember how this works while we're flying, which is never a good idea. Notice we have the cabin temperature has come up saying we're cold in the cabin. Oh, here we go. There's the RNAV source. Yeah. I've just remembered how it all works. So what this is doing now is showing us this frequency at this radial and this offset. So if we go and look on the map, you can see obviously if we turn around, do a right turn through 270 degrees. So we're still in heading mode, remember, on the autopilot. So you can see the airplane's banking. I just want to give you a good idea of what this is doing. So we'll let it chase the heading bug all the way around the circle. So we're wanting to end up coming in this way. So if we leave the heading bug on, travelling west for a few moments, when the airplane stops turning, what we've essentially done is set a course out here. So if we just draw a line, we've done that. We've set a localizer going in towards the runway. So let's keep this turning back towards the course that we think we should be on. So what was the actual course of the runway? 320 degrees according to that. So our line is slightly out. But you can see the local, or the CDI in the middle of the HSI, the course deviation indicator, is reflecting the center line of a runway that has no localizer. So it's over there, look. And you can see it coming in. Isn't that cool? So that's this RNAV computer, the KNS81, that's doing that. So we set the VOR and we set the radial and distance that we want to measure from on the nav instrument. And then we set the course on the nav instrument to the radial to the pretend VOR. And it means basically you can have a localizer on a runway that doesn't have one. Obviously then you need to use distance, so that's why RNAV appears on here as well. So it's telling us we're 7.5 miles from that fictional point in space. Obviously then you can figure out from that, so we should be about 2,500 feet above the ground, 8 miles out if we're on a 3-degree glide slope, and so on and so forth.
Since we're flying near Manhattan, Kansas, let me tell you about the city itself. Manhattan
Let's go and
is home
stop
to Kansas
the
State
tour
University,
guide.
which was founded in 1863 and is one of the
Intercom
oldest public universities in
disabled. Okay. So if we go and turn off the autopilot now, we can see obviously we're not going to get a glide slope because it literally is just the radial that is measuring. So you can see we're on the course and there's the runway directly in front of us, which has no guidance, but we're making one out of this KNS81 flight computer, which is great fun, I think. Okay, now we've done that, so you can see we're just tracking our way, and I said I hadn't drawn the line in a straight line, didn't I? So let's turn around and fly out towards Topeka Regional. And should we do a touch and go first? That will give us a chance to talk to them on the radio again, won't it? So we'll go back to tower. Tower Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, requesting touch and go runway 31. No, although it says it's 320 degrees, it's labelled 31.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, winds 340 at 7, gusting 17. Runway 31, clear touch and go.
Clear touch and go, runway 31, 6 Tango Quebec.
Alright, Manhattan Tower, DC-8623 Mike, on runway 21, ready for departure.
So there's a buzzer there when you pull the power back too far that the gear light comes on.
DC-23 Mike, runway 21,
So
wind 355 at 6, cleared for takeoff.
So the drag from the gear is going to get rid of some speed for us, so let's go and drop the flaps as well. I can never quite get over with the Bonanza what a solid little lump of an aeroplane it is. There's nothing subtle about it at all.
Cessna 117, contact departure.
Departure Cessna 117.
Have to keep an eye on the fuel as well. We're starting to burn some fuel off. We could lean the engine out a bit, to be honest. So we want to see if it affects the RPM. So after we come in,
Romeo Whiskey holding short of 31, ready to go.
we'll leave to the northeast, announce we're leaving, and then switch to central.
360 at 6 gusting 23, runway 31, cleared for takeoff.
We were given landing clearance.
Bonanza 9 Romeo Whiskey.
He's getting out of the way, look. Interesting. Remember, we're only doing a touch and go, so I'm not going to try and hit the target too much.
Hold short of runway 31.
Hold short of 31, stationary 5 Quebec Foxtrot.
Skylane 527, you're leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved. Frequency change approved, Skylane 94527.
It's lovely how it moves around in the air. It's not very stable.
Right downwind, runway 31. Right downwind, runway 31.
Okay, so we're going to depart and carry on our way. It might be fun to climb up. You can see the weather radar's working, which is nice.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, runway 21, cleared for the option. 6 5 Quebec, Foxtrot, cross runway 31. Bonanza 9 Romeo Whiskey, contact departure, safe travel.
So what we'll do
Bonanza 9 Romeo Whiskey.
is talk to Tower in a moment and tell them we're departing to the northeast. Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, departing to the northeast, requesting transfer to centre.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, no radar. Contact center on 127.35.
Contacting centre 127.35, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec. Centre, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, departing Manhattan Regional, requesting flight following.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, squawk 1246 and ident.
They should pick us up automatically.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, radar contact. 3 northeast of Manhattan at 2600 feet. Manhattan altimeter 3009er.
Okay, so we can get our heading bug sorted out and get our course and everything else. So let's go and see where we are on the map. So obviously we're departing off to this side, but then we're going to go towards Topeka en route and do a touch and go there as well. So we're just coming up 3,000 feet, which is perfect.
Kansas City Center, American 601, flight level 370.
American 601, Kansas City Center, roger.
745 and that's flight level 320.
So we'll
Delta
go
45, Kansas
heading
City
mode,
Center, roger.
autopilot on. We'll go altitude hold mode, it's already on. And we'll go and look at the engine and see what's going on with the engine. We don't need the landing gear, landing lights on anymore, by the way, or the taxi lights. So,
Bonanza 6 Tango, Quebec, contact Marshall AFGCA departure on 121.25.
contacting Marshall GCA departure 121.25, Tango 6 Tango Quebec. Marshall GCA departure Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec with you 3,000 feet en route to Kansas City. They should pick us up.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, Marshall AFGCA departure. Good afternoon, Leote, altimeter 3009er.
November 68681, contact Kansas City Center on 134.725.
Altimeter 3009er, 6 Tango Quebec.
Departure Mall 519er 2000 for 4000.
Mall 519er, radar contact, VFR altitudes.
So it's important for GA flights that you are on the correct altitude, so it's something they will check. If we wanted to fly this radial, by the way, we could, we just need to come back across. So if we wanted to fly from this VOR beacon, and we could do this via GPS as well, if we had a GPS, but we don't, so we're going radio. So let's go and put ourselves on an intercept course, say 130 degrees maybe. We'll swing the course round to the angle of this on the map, the penciled in line of 101 degrees.
Contact Manhattan Tower on 118.55.
So we want this on 101. So there's 100, there's 101. And you'll see the CDI coming in, look, and the white arrow means the VOR's behind us that we're tuned into. So we should be tuned in. We're still on RNAV, remember, so 11020. So we'll switch that back to nav1. And we'll switch this to nav1, which is 11020. And then we'll put the DME to look at the nav1 as well.
Center, Bonanza,
we need to switch that
Bravo.
to active, and there we go. And there comes the CDI.
Good morning, sir. I just wanted to let you know that we landed in Junction City and we need to go ahead and cancel our IFR at this time.
Contacting Manhattan Tower, 118.55 at the 6 Tango Quebec. Manhattan Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, 3,000 feet en route to Kansas City. I wonder why they've put us back onto Tower.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, Manhattan Tower, continue at 3,000. Cleared for the option, winds 340 at 7, gusting 17, runway 31.
It's got the wrong idea, hasn't it? We're flying away from you. We're off towards Topeka. So you should see, as we intercept the radial, you'll see the CDI come in. Here it goes, it's wobbling around. Again, this is a feature of the black square aeroplanes, that this is accurately simulating the further away we get, and especially, you know, with poor conditions, you're going to get the radios, the navigation radios are not going to be super accurate. So just, I have a chance to look at the live stream comments now. So we got 15, we're 15 miles out. It's going to be about 25, isn't it, over to the next airfield. So I've got a chance to go read the live stream comments. So someone's saying that they love the Antonov 225 tutorials. It's a shame it still hasn't appeared for 2024. I think it was originally built by Ini Builds. So I wonder if I reach out to them, if I can find out if they are going to do anything with it. Because the Antonov 225 was fantastic fun. So we're about to go into a rainstorm, which is going to be fun. We can see we've just come through the course.
31, Golf Mike Mike Tango.
So we'll turn our heading towards this. We could just say go to nav mode, because we're close enough to it that the autopilot will be able to track it for us. And we'll see what happens. It's going to weave around though, because like I said, this is the further away we get, the worse this is going to get. So we may actually be better off on heading mode. We know we're going in broadly the right direction. So
runway 31, Skylark 0 Alpha Bravo.
Topeka has got a TACAN,
across runway 31.
which I don't think we've got TACAN radios on board.
Runway 31, Skylark 0 Alpha Bravo.
If it was a Vortac, we'd be fine, but it's not. It's a TACAN.
Skywest 6422, established on the RNAV runway 21.
So Topeka Regional. Let's see if we can find out the frequency. I wonder if this will tell us. No, it won't. Can we get nearby airfields? Yes, we can now.
Manhattan Tower, TVM 8.3 miles.
So we could look up. This is one of the new features in Say Intentions that's come out recently. KFOE, so Kilo Foxtrot Oscar Echo. Oscar Echo. Search. Oh, you have to type in here, do we? Other. Kilo Foxtrot Oscar Echo, and click search. And it will come back with the information. There we go. Fantastic. How good is that? Gives us the frequencies, the runway information, the ATIS. Oh, this is amazing. So we've got a lovely lookup tool that we can use while we're flying. So, looking at this, we'll be looking for runway 31, but if we just ask for a touch and go, they'll give us clearance on the way in, won't they? So we're about 15-20 miles out at the moment. So Topeka Regional. So if we want to tune in Topeka Regional along the way, if we get permission from centre and ask them what we're going to do, let's see if they transfer us over. So at the moment, they're saying talk to centre. At the moment, we're talking to Manhattan Ground. Oh no, Manhattan Tower, sorry. Which is slightly odd. But maybe Manhattan handle traffic for this area for all we know. So yeah, just reading the comments there, I know Island Sim Pilot is saying TACAN's military. Yeah, it's a completely different radio system. And I don't think this version of the Bonanza has TACAN radios. It's only got VOR, ADF, and GPS, obviously, if you have it fitted.
Golf Mike Mike Tango, ready to go, straight out.
Golf Mike Mike Tango, winds 360 at 6 gusting 23, runway 31, cleared for takeoff.
The weather radar's looking interesting, isn't it? Whoops.
Cleared for takeoff, 31, Golf Mike Mike Tango.
It's lovely to see the way it sways back and forth doing the updates. It's very clever. We can increase and decrease the range on it, of course, as well. So if we increase the range, very cool. So we've lost our DME, we've lost the signal.
Manhattan Tower, Skyline 94527, 13 miles east, inbound for landing. Enter left base for runway 31, Skyline 94527.
And here comes the water.
Manhattan Tower, Skyline 94527 is coming in from the east. Are you sure that you want me to enter a left base runway 31? Enter left base runway 31527.
Okay, let's get that landing lights back on. Not that it's going to do much use because we're in this torrential rain, but this will be a good way of simulating doing a torrential rain approach, if it's still raining over here. So who were we talking to last? We were talking to Manhattan Tower. Manhattan Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, requesting touch and go at Topeka. It's actually not that bad here, look.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec unable. Only runways 21 and 31 available at Manhattan. Say intentions.
Requesting touch and go at Topeka Regional. Kilo Foxtrot Oscar Echo. It's gone very quiet. Do we have any frequencies for Topeka? I'm just going to leave them behind. I'm not going to ask for permission. So we're going to go straight for Tower. We're disconnecting from Manhattan. Okay. Topeka Regional Tower. Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec with you about 15 miles to the west, requesting touch and go.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, runway 31, cleared touch and go. Winds 320 at 18, gusting 29er.
Cleared touch and go, runway 31, 6 Tango Quebec. Right, we need to get this ready then. So, frequency 110.1, 312 degrees on the course. So there's 312 degrees. And nav1 is 110.10. So we adjust the standby frequency, switch it to active, and it's already come alive. We should get the glide slope when we are in touch. Yeah, it's got glide slope and localizer. So we're going to fly out past it and then turn back in. So it's saying we're 10 miles out from there. From the origin point of the ILS beam. Well, obviously we have this lovely GPS map to look at that tells us exactly where we are. If you were having to do this by hand, you'd have to triangulate in a hurry, you know, and use both nav radios. Okay, and the weather's clearing, which is making our job a lot easier than it would have been otherwise. So, elevation of the airport is, I've gone and switched off the overview page. There we go. And now it's in the wrong order. Elevations are 1,000 feet. So if you think 2,500 feet above ground level, so that's 3,500 feet at the beginning of the glide slope. So if we were to come in midpoint, so around where that says DME there, or where this grass runway is, that's probably going to suit us being at 3,000 feet. So once we get out towards the highway here, we'll turn 90 degrees in towards the... So yeah, when we get to about here, we're going to turn in 50 degrees and then turn left to 312 when we get closer to it. And it's getting atrocious out there, isn't it? So we can measure this as well to know where we are by... Now, would it... trouble is, look, if you're on the edge of a circle, it doesn't really work to be able to just measure distance, because it's kind of... There's not much difference along here. So that's not worth bothering with, to do it by DME. But we could fly the DME arc and just try to hold it at the same distance, in which case you would end up naturally flying an arc.
Departing your airspace.
So you can see we're holding at 7.3 miles. The glide slope's just appeared. We're below the glide slope at the moment. Just.
Skylane 527, you're leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
So let's turn ourselves to 50 degrees. And start slowing ourselves down as well. So you can see the fuel flow's just dropped off. We've used quite a lot of fuel in the one tank, so let's go and switch this over to the other tank as well while we're here. Start using the right tank. So we're coming in towards the ILS beam. Can't see a thing. Oh, we can see a little bit. So it's not going to be too difficult. So let's get ready to fly this properly then. So I'm going to be disengaging the autopilot fairly soon. We're above the... Yeah, let's go manual. We've got everything we need to know right here. So we're too high at the moment for the distance we are. Let's go and throw the gear down, which will give us some drag and help us slow down as we descend. Okay, so you can see we're now below the glide slope. And if we climb, you'll see these markers slide back down towards the middle. So let's start turning. Put ourselves on an intercept course with the CDI. So we're just making it so we don't have to turn as far when we do cross it. We'll also go and drop the flaps while we have the chance. So all we're really watching here is the glide slope markers. We're a little bit below the glide slope at the moment. So let's go and correct that. Watch the vertical speed as we do it. And we're waiting for the CDI to suddenly start moving. And when it does...
Frequency change approved, Skylane 94527.
We'll now turn left.
Frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, 527. Frequency change approved, Skylane 904527.
I'm expecting that CDI to start moving anytime soon. We're 5 miles out. Whoa, look at that gust that just tipped the airplane. This is going to be hairy, isn't it? Oh, we're coming into a clear patch in the rain. Here comes the CDI. And there's the runway. It's quite straightforward in the end, wasn't it? We're below the glide slope, so let's go and correct that. And we just follow, rather than look out the window until you've got very clear view, you just use this, look. So we're just centering up the CDI and the glide slope, and it puts you in exactly the right place. And then start monitoring the power. We're only doing a touch and go, remember. And miraculously we come out of the rain, look, and there's the runway right in front of us. And the VASI lights are saying that we are at the right altitude because we have 2 whites and 2 reds. Whoa, that wind just got underneath the aeroplane then and lifted it enormously. Just holding it off the runway to see how it behaves. Okay, full power again. Well, not quite full power. And pull back gently. Gear up. Give it a bit more RPM on the propeller. Okay, so we're going to depart off towards the east and go back on towards Kansas City and see Kansas in the rain. It's funny, isn't it? I started this flight thinking we were going to see lovely views of the prairies and the farming communities on the way towards Kansas, and instead we've seen torrential rain all the way. Let's have a look on the map. So we're just turning towards, we want about 100 degrees then on the heading bug. Let's go fix that while we're on our way. There's 100 degrees. So let's get the autopilot on, and heading mode, and altitude mode, if it will let me. There we go. So altitude mode will hold us at 2,400 feet. And you can see it's changed the pre-selector, so we can take that up to 3,000, or let's go for 3,500 feet, noting that the ground's already at 1,000 feet. If we turn off altitude hold here, and then go up, and then watch the vertical speed, and just hold it on for a few moments to get the climb rate we wish. So 750 feet a minute is pretty good going, and it's holding speed quite well. We are gunning it on the RPM and the power though. So it should capture the altitude when it gets a bit closer, so keep an eye on this. Although I haven't engaged it, have I? Do we have to arm this? We could engage vertical speed mode, but yeah, let's see what happens. Having not used it before, or for a very long time, it's a bit of a mystery to know how it's going to... We have to engage. And it's doing it. Yeah, it's gone to altitude hold. Okay, so you have to engage vertical speed to do that. I wonder why you have to arm the altitude then. So it's captured it, which is good. I could see it wasn't reacting when it got within 100 feet, so that's why I tried engage instead. I need to go read the book. Yeah, the weather radar's pretty good, isn't it? I'm just reading the live stream comments, people saying, cool, look at the radar. Did I say that touch and goes are not a recommended flight protocol? There's nothing to stop you doing them. In the real world, it's expensive because you pay every time you do it. So I'm being asked what area is my profession in software engineer. My official title is Senior Technical Consultant. I work for one of the big Microsoft partners in the UK. In some respects, the biggest. Okay, so we're coming in towards the track, which is interesting that we're flying the 100-degree track, but the 36 knot crosswind is pushing us sideways quite dramatically. So we're pointing that way. So we're going to need to offset our track by probably 10 degrees or more. 15 even, given the speed of the wind. So we're just pulling the nose around. If you look what we're doing, pulling the nose to the left to maintain the track of the direction we want to be going. So before we go in towards Kansas City, we're going to fly past a New Century Air Center. I just thought it looked interesting on the map, so we're going down past Gardner to go have a look at that. And then we'll fly overhead and carry on in towards Kansas. Hopefully the weather will clear. I mean, this is all well and good doing these kind of tricks to show actually that you can do this while we're in flight. I don't know how this will happen or what this will do to the autopilot. Let's go and turn on the GTN 750, shall we? So we can actually, should we go 530 first and then to 750, or go straight? Let's go straight to the 750. So I've confirmed it. What's the autopilot done? So it's disengaged it. So I've turned it back on, but it's back on heading mode. So we've now got the Garmin. So we need to go and put a flight plan in. So we are flying from, we'll just put this part of the flight plan in.
System test
KFOE. And we're going to go via KIXD. And then we're going to go into Charles B. Wheeler Downtown, KMKC. So then we come back out of here, we get rid of the messages about licensing and all the rest of it, and we go into the map, and we can now see our route really neatly. So I'm not sure if this does a weather overlay. It would be nice if it did. Should we go and have a look? Map setup, terrain, topographical, traffic, back, weather, radar. Interesting, it's not showing anything, is it? But I'm not sure entirely how this works. This one's lit up like a Christmas tree. So if we go and reduce the range on it. Yeah. I wonder how that works then. What about that? It's not showing the weather. I imagine this needs some sort of subscription to get the data to show up. These are the real systems after all. No data, no data, no data. Yeah, there's a missing part of the jigsaw here that I don't have. Something we can do to see how accurate the weather is being simulated is go to windy.com. If you're not aware of this website, let's go and put in the code of where we're heading towards. So KIXD. And there it is, the weather station at New Century. And that gives you obviously the zoom, and it highlights it on the map of where we're looking at. but you can pull up the clouds, for example, and you can see the rain as well. So if we put radar, oh, there's a radar plus service. I want just weather radar. There we go. So that's a free service on the internet, and it gives you the forecast and the wind and all the rest of it. It's very good. Okay, we're hurtling in towards New Century. Let's go and tune to the tower there, if they've got one. So New Century Air Centre, we're going to go to the tower frequency. Do they have ILS, more importantly? Yes, they do, and it suits us with the wind direction. So here we go again. We're going to torture ourselves again with a crazy ILS approach. New Century Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, approaching from the west, requesting touch and go.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, runway 22 cleared for the option. Left closed, traffic approved, report midfield each time.
Runway 22 with a 38 knot. What's the wind on the ground? No. Maybe we won't do that. Let's ask if we can have runway 36. New Century Tower 6 Tango Quebec requesting touch and go on runway 36.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, contact departure on 118.9er. Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, unable. Only runways 22 and 36 available. Runway 36 not active. Enter left downwind for runway 22.
Unable. Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, cancelling touch and go request. It's too windy. We can't do it.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, touch and go cancelled. Advise intentions.
We are carrying on to Kansas City. 6 Tango Quebec.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, proceed direct Kansas City. Frequency change approved.
Well, this isn't an unintentionally dangerous flight, isn't it? So obviously we have this lovely GPS system now, so what we can do is just pull ourselves back around with the guidance. So we're in heading mode. So we want to be travelling about 60 degrees or something, I would think. If I go for 50, that will pull us in at a nice angle back onto the map. So as long as we're on a intercept course, you can see the wind pushing us sideways there. Look, that's madness. Let's get rid of that message. So we can change the CDI mode is GPS. So we can change that up here as well. So if we were to go nav mode now, it will kick in. Look, it's going to put us into about a 45 degree intercept angle onto the current track. And then it will wiggle around as we fly over the top of the airport. So we can have a look outside. Look at the wind pushing us. Look at the crabbing. Oh my word. There's the airfield.
TBM2 Charlie Papa, contact departure.
Over to departure, TBM2 Charlie Papa, see you.
TBM2 Charlie Papa, roger, good day. Skylane 4 Delta Bravo, welcome to New Century. Contact ground on 124.3.
Well, it's getting a nice wash, isn't it? Even though it looks a bit grubby. Okay, so we're heading off towards Kansas City. So we'll fly just past the main part of the downtown, and then we'll hopefully get into Charles B. Wheeler. Look at this thing crabbing like crazy to hold the trek. If we zoom in, so you can see any high points that are being highlighted. So various pylons. Should we not look at how high we are? We have got the radar altimeter, remember. So that's going to be wiggling around as we pass over lumps in the ground. So being asked some questions in the live stream comments. So yeah, Lee says Say Intentions is cool, but it's far from perfect. Absolutely, but it's improving all the time. So someone's saying it would be awesome to see an in-depth tutorial of the systems on the black square planes. Thanks for your work. I kind of cover it while I'm flying around in it, really, so there's not a lot more than I've shown. The real trick in this aeroplane was the KNX-81, is it called? The RNAV computer. Otherwise, it's all just, you know, book standard stuff. We're still cold in the cabin. So let's put the, how do we do this? Vent blower, is it? No, that's for the fuel. Where's the heating controls for the cabin? Well, we ought to put the pitot heat on. Oh, here we go, cabin heat, pull on. So let's see how quickly it goes up. So there's the, oh my word, it's 38 Fahrenheit, it's properly cold in here. 4 centigrade. Oh, I must apologise. So 5 centigrade, let's cook the pilot then. We'll leave the cabin heat on, let's put the aft cabin heat on as well. It's up to 6-7 centigrade, it's climbing quickly, look. So what it will be doing, if we go and have a look in here, is, yeah, it's blue. It will be pulling the heat through from the engine, look, and venting it into the cabin. So you have a shut-off valve here, which we've opened, which means the air that ram air comes through the engine and it ejects straight through, so it gets warmed up on the way through. So it's essentially in the exhaust system. It's clever, isn't it? So this is changing colour as we speak. So we're up to 14 degrees already, look. It's not quite so blue anymore, it's changing to a bluey green. And we're up to 17 centigrade. I'll have to go and turn it down a bit in a moment, otherwise we really are going to cook everybody. So we've got the readout there as well, look. Also, it's worth pointing out you've got the engines that are busy chugging away, so you get to see what they're doing. This is actually animated, they're going so fast it just appears as a blur. When we land at the other end, I'll slow the engine right down. Slow the RPM down. Actually, we've got some speed here, let's do it. So if I pull the RPM back, yeah, while we're in flight it's not going to show up. So let's go and have a look at that cabin, and it's gone green now, look, it's fantastic. It's 24 degrees, which is perfect. So let's wind that back in a bit, just keep it hopefully at 24. Nice and warm. So we've got airspace coming up, which is an interesting one. So if we go and turn the airspaces on, you'll see we're getting in towards the international airport. So these various sectors on the way in will have altitude clearances, so you have to be in underneath them basically, and that goes more towards the ground the closer you get, but obviously we're on the outskirts, so we're going to go and talk to Charles Wheeler. What is it? KMKC. So on this new interface we can do an airport lookup. Did it just change? Yeah, it did. Charles Wheeler downtown. So we're going to go straight to Tower there. Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, approaching from the south, requesting full stop landing. So what runway are they going to give us? Please be 0401.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, enter left downwind for runway 3.
That's going to be 4. They're calling it 3, but it's 4. So to enter left downwind, we need to go out over here. So let me turn off the sectors. We need to go out over here, but we need to be careful. We need to stay within this circle before we do it. So then we're going to come over here, do a right turn and swap directions. Left downwind for runway 3, 6 Tango Quebec. So when we get a little bit closer, we'll start manoeuvring to put ourselves on left downwind. So you can see there's the airfield. We need to stay within these bounds. So let's get this back onto heading bug mode. And we can see here on the compass the kind of direction we want. There's north, which is where we're kind of aiming for. So just explaining this on the map, what we're doing, we're coming straight up here to the north, and then we're going to reverse, and that will put us downwind for 4. So, well, yeah, more that direction. So we'll do an almost sort of 200 degrees right turn. In fact, we could go out this way and fly the reciprocal, then double back, and that puts us in the downwind. The traditional way in the US to come into the pattern for an approach would be to come in at 45 degrees at the back of the pattern.
18-4, 3 Alpha Zulu.
You can draw that on LittleNavMap.
Roger.
So what you can do in here is add the traffic pattern.
Inbound for landing, runway 1.
So we could say we want the 04 turning left.
Clear to land, runway 1, 8 Tango Bravo.
And it will draw it on it for you. And that shows you that entry point, which is typical for US airfields. So that's what we're saying, look, we're going to fly up, turn around, and then turn reciprocal. And that puts us in the traffic pattern for 04. Most airfields will put you into the pattern. They won't usually give... there may be other traffic around. Have we seen any other traffic? We haven't, have we? If I put... The simulator's drawing a few. Have I actually got... I haven't heard much in the air. If we go and look in traffic in here, I've got it set to on. Okay. Although it's such horrific weather, who else would be up flying on a day like today? This is like awful, isn't it? So we need to go and set the ILS up as well while we're at it. So 11175, 35 degrees. We've switched to nav systems, so we want 11075, and we want to change the course to 35 degrees, which will be the runway direction. And there it is. So just bearing in mind where we are, yeah, we're going to turn right now. So I'm just doing this bit by bit to explain to people who've never seen this done. We're staying just inside the airspace. Should have turned earlier, really. So we're now flying reciprocal, although not because of the crosswind. Let's turn the sectors off. So as long as we come back round in a moment to travel south back onto the pattern, then we can announce we're downwind runway 04 and they'll give us clearance. They may announce it themselves. As soon as you usually get a beam the end of the runway, they usually give you your clearance in. So we're going to go south now.
Clearance. Stand by.
Roger, Starship 514 Romeo Sierra, cleared to St. Louis, radar vectors Kansas City, then as filed, climb and maintain 4,000, expect flight level 250, 10 minutes after departure on 118.4, walk 3227, and I understand about the assignment change to runway 3.
So this is not turning, is it?
Romeo Sierra, read back correct. Ground will be on
so let's go straight for
121.9.
the reciprocal. I've just thrown the gear out to give us some drag. Yeah, this is being a bit of a so-and-so. Tower, Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, downwind, runway 03. They said 03, wasn't it? But it's actually 04. It doesn't really matter. Does it have... Oh, it does have
Bonanza
a...
6 Tango Quebec, winds 320 at 12, gusting 22, runway 3, cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 3, 6 Tango Quebec. So we're going to extend downwind a little bit to give us some approach distance. So let's go and have a look at this.
6 Tango Quebec, say again, please.
Clear to land, runway 3, 6 Tango Quebec. It's interesting, did they not hear us? So the wind is still pushing us, look, even though we're crabbing across at a crazy angle.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, unable. Only runways 1 and 3 available. Say intentions.
Choosing runway 3, 6 Tango Quebec. Yeah, I'm going to pull us across to one side. I'm just wondering what's going on with this, because this is saying distance measuring equipment 13 miles on nav 1. Oh, we're using GPS still, aren't we? There we go. That's better.
Skyventure 220, contact departure.
Going to departure, Skyventure 220. Going to departure, Skyventure 220.
I am ready for, can I please have the altimeter settings?
So what we're going to do is hold it out here until the glide slope comes up. So if I climb into it, so 80 knot climb. I'm flying at 240 degrees away on purpose to battle the wind. And we're still not above the glide slope. That's bizarre. Is it a steep glide slope or something? So what's the extra direction? 35 degrees. That's on 35. Whoa, look at the wind getting under the wing and tipping us around. This is going to be a dangerous landing. I'm wondering what is happening with that glide slope. It's not moving. And this is broken, of course. Because we're at nearly 5,000 feet. Yeah, it's broken, I think. Oh no, is it moving? It's just coming down now. Is it a steep glide slope? No, it's a 3-degree glide slope. How weird. Okay. So, here we go then. Time to earn our money.
Bonanza 6 Tango, Quebec. You have not been cleared into the Bravo airspace. Exit the Bravo immediately. Once clear, advise when ready to copy phone number for possible pilot deviation.
That was funny.
Citation tree 54 Charlie Golf, contact ground on 121.9er.
Ground on 121.9er for 354 Charlie Golf.
Okay, there's the glide slope. Let's put this back onto 16 miles to run. So we've got blown 16 miles downrange. That's a long way. That's why we weren't... Of course we had the wind behind us, didn't we? So while we were trying to... We had this hurricane force wind behind us, which dragged us basically about 10 miles further than we thought in the gale. Okay, let's face this north for a while. $15 miles to run. We are 30 degrees off track and we are not getting any closer to the track, so let's go 40 degrees across track. That's quite frightening that the CDI hasn't come in yet. So we're pretty much on the glide slope, but we're nowhere closer to being on the center line, even though we're flying at 40 degrees to it, and have been doing for some time. It's just starting to move. I think something might be broken. Yeah, it is, look. It's massively broken. Have we got the right frequency? 11075.
Clearance from Charles W. Wheeler to...
It's 11175, that's why.
Roger, Starship 514, Romeo Sierra, cleared to St. Louis. Radar vectors and Napoleon, then it's filed. Time and maintain 6,000. Expect flight level 270. 10 minutes after departure.
That explains everything.
Departure is on 118.4, squawk 2441, and expect...
Starship 514 Romeo Sierra, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.9er when ready.
So we're just descending down. It'll work now. Everything will make sense. That explains why nothing was making any sense. I had the radio tuned into something nearby.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
It's fine. Just shows you how you can become disoriented though, doesn't it? And how things don't add up. And you start to not trust yourself.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate.
So what do we have in terms of crosswind? Every day's a school day.
500.
So, given that we are coming in with a crosswind, and oh my word, it doesn't want to turn back towards the runway either. So what we ought to do is side slip it. So I'm going to start to bring the nose over and use the ailerons to traverse or translate the aeroplane left and right. But look at the amount I'm going to have to do it. I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to have to just run out of lift over the runway and straighten it up on the rudder at the very last moment. I can't use the side slip. This runway isn't supposed to be in use anymore, look. It's too windy to do the side slip method. But they've put us down on a runway that's disused. The wind is still trying to get under that left wing, look.
Bonanza
Can
6
see it
Tango
tipping
Quebec,
the
welcome
airplane.
to downtown. Contact ground on 121.9er.
Contacting ground 121.9er, 6 Tango Quebec. Well, that was unintentionally exciting. Partly because of me putting the wrong frequency into the nav radio. Partly because we picked something up on that frequency. And then we got written up because we did... Look, we flew all the way out here. If we go and put the sectors on, you'll see what happened. Look, we went into the Bravo airspace for a few seconds. Around the international airport. And that got us into all sorts of trouble. But all because we had the wrong frequency and it threw us out entirely and we weren't looking at the map properly. So, well, I wasn't. That's interesting that the cab temp has dropped way back off, so we pushed it in too far. Anyway. Ground. Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec requesting taxi to general aviation parking. Should be just over there, isn't it? Oh, it's going to be the far side.
Bonanza 6 Tango Quebec, taxi to park overflow stand 81 at your discretion. Good day.
Taxi to overflow stand 81 at our discretion. 6 Tango Quebec. Okay, this is where LittleNavMap starts to fall down a bit because it doesn't have that label. So if we go and open Navigraph, we might have a bit more luck. So if I unload that and we are here. So Kansas City KMKC, if we go and go for airports, my mouse has started playing up now, KMKC, and go to the charts.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
And go to the taxi charts and go for...
Victor Dodge City, radar vector Salina, departure altitude 6,000, expecting higher 10 minutes after. Departure frequency 118.4, squawk 4417, expecting runway 1.
Do you know, I'm just going to give it up and go park up.
Vision Jet 9 Romeo Papa, read back correct.
Kansas City downtown, Bonanza 360 Bravo with information Foxtrot.
In fact, if we go round Delta,
Junction City, ready to
that's
copy.
kind of what I was expecting. Can we get around the runway? Oh, it's Golf on this one. Okay, Golf and then Kilo, and then come back around towards the main buildings. There shouldn't be anything on runway 03 because it's a disused runway. And the strobe lights can come off. We're not on the runway anymore. Going to be a bit naughty and cross the runway. Couldn't see anything. And nobody's called me. More importantly. That windsock. Horizontal. Oh my word. I expect there's no aeroplanes around because they've all been blown away. Or they've all been put away. All been hanged for the day. We're the only lunatic out here.
Clarence, good morning. Vision Jet 709 Romeo Papa with information Quebec, ready to copy IFR to Dodge City.
Okay, so
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
Let's go and turn the
Clarence,
main lights off.
Say again, please, for Vision Jet 9 Romeo Papa.
And starve the engine.
Ground, good morning. Vision Jet 709 Romeo Papa with information Whiskey, ready to copy IFR to Dodge City.
So, as I said, you need to be careful in this aeroplane to put things back the way you want to find them. Otherwise, you run yourself into all sorts of trouble. So, pitot heat comes off, and we've already turned the radio kit off. Let's just have a check. I didn't play with any of those switches en route, did I? No, we never had oxygen on. We were only ever at low altitude. And we should have had the cowl flaps open on approach, but there we go. We were more interested in trying to diagnose why I had not tuned the correct frequency into the VOR radio. Oh, we should have had the weather radar back off. It's interesting, actually. If we put power back on and we put master avionics back on, yeah, so that should be off first, I guess. Obviously, this will boot up. I wonder if they've gone as far as, let's try that again. So master avionics, let's go and turn this to off. Yep, that's good. What about any of these? Do they power down? I presume they will. Because, yeah, it's black square, look, it's done really nicely. So turning the systems to off. Oh, that takes out the power to the GTN as well. That's good to know. There we go, cold and dark, and we can undo the door. It's very good, isn't it? It's very, very good. We didn't have a play with this, did we? That works as well. Verdict for this aeroplane is fantastic. I knew it was going to be fantastic. All of the black square aeroplanes are fantastic. yeah, it's very, very good. So I'm just going to go and get rid of say intentions now. So
information, Lima.
yeah, it's just, if you like this sort of aeroplane and you like flying with analog controls, it's a no-brainer really. So obviously there's the sister aeroplane to it, the Baron, is also available. I'll do a video with that maybe tomorrow night. We'll see. But yeah, really good fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that and enjoyed me making that huge mistake on approach there where I got the wrong frequency. But otherwise, yeah, that was good fun. You can see the taxi in there, look. So in a normal world, we would have just turned in, picked up the frequency and dropped into the runway. But no. We carried on out, and I carried on climbing, thinking there's something wrong here. Meanwhile, the wind was blowing us the entire time, and we hurtled off downwind. But it just shows you how long it can take to diagnose and realise what you've done, which isn't always apparent. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. So that's the Black Square Bonanza in Flight Simulator 2024. Fantastic aeroplane. See you again soon. Take care.